Hey there everybody, welcome back. It's Caitlin, your geeky girlfriend, and in today's video I'm going to be doing my third Bookie Babe book review of 2023, and I was really hoping to have more books read by this time in the year, especially with a vacation under my belt, but it is what it is. We are here and we're doing it. So in case you've missed this year's books, we've done Shopaholic Takes Manhattan, and we have done Ina May's Guide to Childbirth, and then today is going to be number 3, and it is Down and Out in the Magic Kingdom, written by Corg, Doctorow. Now, I will admit that this was a half-price books find from the clearance rack, and I was really excited about it because I was like, oh, the Magic Kingdom, it's going to be Disney themed, and like based on the synopsis on the back, I was like pretty into it and pretty excited to read it. I picked it off my shelf because of how small it was, and I was like, oh, this will be a quick read just to get me through the end of the school year, and then I will, or even earlier than that, like after I came back from our spring break trip, I was like, oh, this will be a great book for me to just read super quick, get me in the mood for my Disney trip, and it ended up taking me a lot longer than I thought to read, so we'll get into that in just a second. But if you are new to this channel, make sure you subscribe, like this video, and feel free to share it if you think it's something that somebody else will like. Also, you can put in the comments what book you would like me to read next. I should also mention that I did read another book, so technically this would be number 4, but that book hasn't even been published yet, so I can't count it like in my Goodreads or anything like that. But I did do a beta reading of another book that should be releasing before the end of the year, so once that is released, then I can count that in. But so I did take a break from like my Shopaholic and my Ina May books to read that other book as a beta reader. So I do have another book in my count for my own personal count, but I can't count it in terms of like Goodreads and here on YouTube and things like that because I can't write a review of it because it hasn't been published yet. So when that comes out, I will be sure to add it to my list. And let's get into today's video. So like I said, I bought this because it said Down and Out in the Magic Kingdom, and I was like, oh, this is so exciting. And then based on the premise, I was like, oh, this sounds like pretty cool. It's about I interpreted it to be like an animatronic robot who kind of gets booted out of the Magic Kingdom, is kind of being taken over by newer technology, and he kind of tries to find his way in. So here I am thinking like this is going to be the story of like Abraham Lincoln or one of the Carousel of Progress animatronics or something like that. And that is not at all what this book was. This book is very sci-fi, very techie, very very into like the geeky science, way more than I am. And I know that I've posted a couple of science fiction books on this channel because they've been recommended to me or because authors have reached out to me. But this one was way into like the computer science piece of everything, the robotics piece of everything that I just honestly don't really understand. So for me, this book was kind of hard to read because there were a lot of science terms that I didn't understand. So I kind of had to just like not make it up as I go, but kind of, you know, I probably had a much looser interpretation of what the science and technology terminology meant. So it's actually like humanoids or like humans that have been reincarnated through the use of technology. So these humans have like robot abilities and can come back to life and come up, like reboot from a backup system and all, but they have like human bodies, human desires, human tendencies, like to have relationships, even intimate ones. And so it was kind of a hard balance for me. Like the main character is a cast member at the Magic Kingdom who works on the Haunted Mansion, and like he talks about getting dressed and wearing his uniform and his girlfriend and all these things, and then like he has the ability to like make people think certain things and project things with his mind, and so it's just like very advanced technology that some people might believe is in our future as humans, but I don't know if I'm on that wavelength or not. I just don't really see it as a possibility in my lifetime, but maybe I'm underestimating how far AI is going. So overall, this book took me way longer to read than I was expecting. I want to say I started it in late March, early April, and I just finished it in June as we were like walking through the airport in Orlando. It did kind of pick up towards the end, like the second half was a lot easier. There was more action happening in terms of the park itself, and the parts that actually took place in the Magic Kingdom and around the hotels and the attractions, those were a lot easier for me to read because that was what I was familiar with. The technological parts and like the stories of his past lives and all that, I could have cared less about. And so that made it really hard for me to like keep going, but I wanted to see, I'm a completist, so pretty much once I start a book, even if it's miserable, I try to finish it. I talked the same way about Ina May, if you saw that video, because that one was also very hard for me to read. So overall, I would give this book, like if you are really into computer science, really into technology, and you like Disney, this is a great book for you. If you are somebody who likes Disney, this is not the book for you. The only enjoyable thing for me about this book were the parts that he was actually talking about the rides and the attractions and when he's talking about sitting in the Contemporary and watching the monorail go by. Like, those are the parts that were easy for me to read. And the chapters were longer than I was expecting. There was a lot going on, like bouncing back from flashback to present to all these different things. So kind of hard to follow. I honestly would give this book like a 1 out of 10, which seems harsh, but it only gets, like, it might get a 2 just for the Disney references alone. It was hard for me to understand. I was not really into the science fiction technology piece of it at all. So unfortunately, now it has gotten great reviews from other science fiction writers. So if you are a science fiction person and like Disney, this would be right up your alley. But for me, it was just not really a genre that I am familiar with and that I am really interested in. I have to give it like a 1, maybe a 2, just for the references of like the Contemporary Hotel and the Polynesian Hotel and the Seven Seas Lagoon and all of those like Magic Kingdom lore things. So overall, it was not what I was expecting. I read it and I can cross it off my list, but it would not be one that I would recommend to like any of my fellow readers, because I know that they're not really interested in this either. But if you are, I wish you luck in reading, and he, like I said, is highly revered for this work. I do think this was his initial novel. Definitely check it out if you are into science fiction, but if you're not, then skip this one. But that's all I have for this video, guys. I'm going to be dropping more book reviews. I've got one more book review to drop, which is going to drop today also, and then I'm going to be doing tons. I'm talking like over 20 movie reviews coming at you this week. So keep checking back for the channel. Make sure that you sign up for those notifications, subscribe, and thank you all so much for being here. And thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.